we're going to sign up to microchips the day they come because they're going to sell us such an amazing proposition. Lento ishoyo uguti go on YouTube, learn. The microchip is going to say, don't go on YouTube. The day you need that information will guide you step for step in your head. What do you want to know? I want to know how to say hello in Mandarin. Oh, it's ni hao. And it'll tell you in your head. You'll be like, oh, ni hao. And you're like, how do you know that? You're like, no, I just spoke to my chip.
This is the Hustler's Corner.
Hey, hello, squatters and hustlers. Sanbonani, Dumelang, Abusheni, Dimacheroni. What else? What else do we say?
Goeiemiddag. Allemaal van julle virtual squatters.
What's up, guys? Let's go straight to the chip sign. Guys, we have to listen. We have to click. So I read one of the comments. They said, Smooth, don't say click, click, click. My uncle clicked more than once. And
So
then
just say
he
click once.
unsubscribed. So let's go click that like button. Let's go to the subscription button, click. And don't forget to switch on the notification bell. I have to say these things like repetitively at Ngira station. Because you remember, you never know who bumps into this video when and where.
Sure,
And
for the
maybe
first time ever.
For the first time ever
Yeah.
in another country. And sometimes human nature, you assume you are subscribed to the channel and you're not.
Facts.
You know, so just subscribe, become a part of our community. Thank you very much, guys. I'm excited once again. How are you?
Smooth, I'm good. Yabanda, ekoli. But look, it is winter. But I'm cold, but I'm happy. I'm grateful. I'm healthy. I'd like to think our families are healthy and they're happy, so I'm good. I'm very happy to be here as well. I'm quite excited. It's starting to really feel like home. Not just with us, but knowing that there's a community out there, and even when we walk in the streets, people that are coming up, it really fills my heart, genuinely.
No, I appreciate it, and I appreciate you saying that. They say in radio it takes at least 18 months to build a radio show.
Jeez.
For you to know if it's working or not.
Sure.
And for you to be able to go and suss out the numbers.
That's a long time. That's a year and a half.
Yeah, so I've been on radio all my life.
Sure.
I'm 43 years old now. I've been on radio since campus radio, since I was a teen.
Sure.
Since I was like, 17, 18, 19.
That's crazy.
I've done community radio, I've done campus radio, I've done regional radio.
Sure.
I've done national radio, I've done what they call ALS stations in the form of Mkhukhu FM. I've done Mkhukhu FM's breakfast show. I've had the highest numbers on breakfast, and I've been humbled to have learned and having been mentored at Mkhukhu FM by the great Linda Sibiya.
Sure.
Shout outs to Mr. Magic.
Mr.
Thank you.
Magic.
Thank
Look
you
at
for embracing the career. Shout
Please.
outs to Chata. Shout outs to Skomeza. Shout outs to Sisbongi. Oh man, Mkhukhu FM, we had a great time. Shout outs to Usbonga. Oh, shout outs to Skova, Uspongo, Upiance. Oh man. I had a great time on Mkhukhu FM. So I've had a really great long radio career.
Yeah.
And a lot of the things that I know, as far as my experience on radio is concerned, it's beautiful to be podcasting with that knowledge in my head.
Yeah.
And I understand that you're sitting on the other chair, you're also coming with your own experience
Sure.
in the world that you're coming from.
Sure.
That's why I love collaborations. Collaborations are key. So when I say to you, it at least takes 18 months to know if a radio show is working on. If it can get cancelled sooner than that,
Yeah.
for whatever other reason.
Sure.
But at least for you to properly know if it's not working or it's working, 18 months.
That's a long time.
So now it's 2022. You know immediately if something works or not. And when I say immediately, in the podcast world, I look at things at least at an average of about 6 months.
The internet is fast and it's different. It's a slightly different animal. But as I'm just listening to you, and you're young, 43 is young, and to think of all the work that you've put in, all the experience you have, I can imagine outside of virtual Mkhukhu, the people that you've met, being on radio. You're literally a walking legend, a walking library. When they speak about 7 degrees of separation, that any human being in the world is at most 7 people away from you. When are you literally, my being next to you is a connection to so many people, and that's a lot.
It's
And
dope,
I can
though.
hear the gratitude in your voice, and it's amazing.
It's humbling, Penuel.
Sure.
It's humbling that I'm alive and I'm a father and I'm growing in my knowledge.
Sure.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing. With podcasting, It's such a beautiful thing to
Sure.
experience. To experience numbers immediately.
Sure.
You know what works, you know what doesn't work.
Sure.
The algorithms, the behind the scenes creative studio YouTube platform analytical or analytics information that you get.
Sure.
You immediately know which episode did not perform and because of what reasons, based on if you compare it to other episodes that
Sure.
performed better than it.
Sure.
It shows you spikes. It shows you things that have been interesting in that particular video.
Sure.
It shows you when it spiked. It shows you the intro. It shows you the most interesting, where there was the most traffic in a video.
Sure.
It shows you the analytics of what is this? The age group of people that listen to you. It breaks it down, like everything that on radio was a department.
Sure.
YouTube has basically taken everything. It has consolidated the technology, and it gives you that data behind the scenes like this.
It's
Like
it's fascinating.
It's at your palm like
It's
this.
fascinating.
So now think of somebody like me who comes from that environment, to have all of that
Sure.
onto my phone
Sure.
with no staff members, no departments, no nothing. It's amazing. That's why Mkhukhu is killing it.
Sure.
Because he comes with that radio experience.
Sure.
He's mastering this thing and he'll forever win.
That's
Like, this is so beautiful. And I invite every radio person out there, guys, get on YouTube, open a podcast, learn YouTube. It'll be the most amazing platform we've ever been a part of. This is amazing what I'm going through.
Sure.
I'm very excited about this podcast.
Yo, you guys seem like you're gonna be cheating,
No, we
coming
don't.
with all that experience. What the guys at Silicon Valley have created in terms of apps, in terms of platforms, people don't know that YouTube is owned by Google. It's nothing short of amazing, because exactly to what you're saying, what would take an entire department, what would maybe take days, months of a consulting firm, you literally get sometimes in lifetime. It feels like a cheat. The internet is crazy. So I think one of the things that probably made radio take so long to get with the feedback, the 18 months, was in particular because we obviously have a lot of radio stations. I think the SAPC has 18 on its own. It's not as crazy as the internet, where anyone can open a channel and anyone can start podcasting today. So there's the competition element, there's a potential saturation element, but at the same time, there's, to what you're saying, we know now if something's going to work or not. And people know now if I want to stay here or not. But the danger is they might just leave, because tomorrow someone might be bumping. But you guys are coming with the cheats from radio.
It's not the cheats. It's beautiful, my brother.
No, it's experience.
Yeah,
It's
but
experience.
then again, it's beautiful that everybody can broadcast.
Yeah,
You don't have to go work for a particular radio station.
sure.
And the barriers have always been high. So young people can easily get in now. I'm seeing a lot of you young cats that are starting your own podcasts. I'm seeing a lot of you guys in Makasi. I'm seeing you guys on TikTok. Guys, do your thing, man. Do your thing. It's such a beautiful thing to witness.
Sure.
But this is only the beginning, Penuel, hey? There's going to be a point where everybody is online. Everybody is like either podcasting or just hustling online. And they've already started. Youngins out there, teenagers.
Yeah.
We already have like teenage millionaires. Because there's YouTubers who started 10 years ago when they were even 12 years, maybe even 10 years old, who are now like just 21 or 18 and they're millionaires.
Dollar millionaires.
I'm not even, I'm including about Forex even.
Sure.
About Forex by West Food. But I'm talking about just podcasters and YouTubers and others that have now become influencers. So basically we're starting to see more and more younger people become rich.
Yeah. It's... You know, as you're speaking, I'm actually worried because I know the mind of a capitalist. And Lento Ikuluma is called decentralization, where we're saying everyone has access to knowledge and information. You can go to Wikipedia, you can go to Google, anyone can open a podcast. And capitalists are trying to think, how can we squeeze these people out? Because I'm just thinking, if everyone can open a podcast, how do I, as a wealthy person, make it difficult for people? So we're going to get a lot of new rich people. Obviously, the same thing has happened with the decentralization of money, cryptos and the like. But I always think, I'm a capitalist, always have something up their sleeves. There's going to be a shift of money. There's going to be some people that want to get rich. And then later on, next thing we have regulations for podcasts. You can't just regulate. You can't just have a podcast. You have to go through this regulator. I saw Cyril Ramaphosa, I think 2 or 3 months back, there's a bill they signed and people haven't talked about it, which is some type of internet monitoring. And I'm scared that at some point, what we're enjoying now, we might not enjoy as much. And we obviously had a situation here where someone decided to involve our platform for certain things that were discussed. And I'm thinking capitalists, I always think, nah, it can't be. Young people can't just make money easily. When I had to buy a whole building and buy expensive equipment, and Intwana just with a cell phone is making money every day. But for the time being, I think we need to exploit this as much as possible. And I think the day they start regulating and consolidating these things, you want to get the same young people who are at least in charge of running some of those things.
Big up to Slicker. Slicker has been at it for a while.
He's been at it for a while with Slicker, yeah.
Big up to JR. He's building a beautiful live music platform.
Sure.
Obviously, big up to MacGyver for leading the way.
Sure.
Big up to Touch and Gareth Cliff.
Sure.
The pioneers, myself as well with the team that we worked with at Massive Metro. Those were the early days.
Sure.
But we saw that this was coming.
Sure.
So what we spent to start, for instance, Massive Metro a few years ago.
Sure.
Just a few years before this era kicked in.
Sure.
Right now, like, you can even spend less than 10% of that. You don't even need that much to just start a podcast network. Basically, you can do it. And I see people doing it on their own. Just a laptop, just a sound card, microphones, a camera.
Good to go.
They're good to go. It's beautiful, bro.
It's beautiful and it's dangerous. I'm just thinking as a capitalist. I remember when I'm a flash drive, I think there was 250 megs. So clean. When I got to varsity, I think I paid 999 rand for 250 megs, which today maybe you can get 3 terabytes for $1,000 if you have a good deal somewhere. Yo. But we'll see.
So what I want to talk about.
We'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes.
Do you know how it's going to go?
Yeah.
It's going to go where the big media companies are going to want to start having conversations with us. Just like what happened to Joe Rogan, at some point I thought would happen to Joe Biden. It didn't happen with... I think it happened with Joe Biden, but apparently he refused the Spotify offer. I don't know how many millions of dollars they were offering Joe Biden for the Joe Biden podcast.
Sure.
He refused it. I like the fact that his mindset is around... He's got Joe Rogan all over his mouth.
Sure.
So I like the fact that he thinks on that level.
Sure.
And is looking at those numbers.
So I guess for people that don't know, Joe Rogan I think he has the biggest podcast on the planet. American guy who's a commentator for UFC and also a stand-up comedian in his own right. He used to make podcasts at a time when it wasn't even cool. He used to make podcasts that go for 2-3 hours with some of the coolest people on the planet. Kanye West, Elon Musk, Dave Chappelle, Kevin Hart. And he wouldn't even advertise. I don't even think he was even monetizing at that time. And he'd get crazy views. And at some point, Spotify was just like, here's $100 million US.
200?
To move you.
Why do we keep saying 100?
It was 100 million. And then I also heard, which at some point, I think it was 200. But when the news broke out, it was $100 million. But I think I've heard this $200 million US discussion to move it to Spotify. We're still speaking YouTube now. We need to get to a point where we're speaking Spotify and we're speaking all these other platforms that kids should know. And I like that Joe Budden, who's a rapper, for people that don't know, he was actually a dope rapper.
Dope rapper.
Joe Budden.
Lyricist.
Yeah, African American, who's created his own platform. I don't know if people have seen The Breakfast Club with Charlemagne the God, DJ Envy, Angela E. But Joe Budden is thinking at that level to what you're saying of, I don't want to settle for scraps. I don't want you guys to see me as an afterthought. I'm also trying to create something valuable. And a great business mind, an American guy called Gary Vaynerchuk, Gary V, speaks very much about, forget about making money now and just deliver value. Deliver value until people almost are begging to give you money because you give so much value to them. And I'm sure Joe Budden is probably thinking along those lines of, let's just educate and entertain people. Let's create an amazing platform. And the day people want to come here, they must pay us what we're worth. We're not begging, we're not desperate. We have isinkwa that we can eat. We've got our home to sleep in. But we want to be a valuable platform and we want to get to Joe Rogan type of level. So it's quite exciting. And the kids, especially in this country, we're speaking TikTok, we're speaking YouTube. The kids in this country that are willing to put in the work that are willing to put in the work are going to reap the rewards, and they're going to be the go-to guys in future, like a DJ Spoo in radio, like a DJ Fresh in radio. When it comes to podcast and online, it's going to be your MacGyver. It's going to be your Slicker. It's going to be yourself. People are going to be like, please, master, teach me. And you're going to tell them, Uti, it's not just about the sound card and the laptop, and that you have to work, and your content has to be great, and you have to educate, and you have to get the right type of guests. And that's how you become a game changer, because it's not radio now. It's not a Metro FM competing with the 702, competing with the 5FM. Now you're competing with millions of kids across the world. Because a South African kid doesn't need to be listening to a South African podcast, but they tune into us because they gain real value here. So you're competing with... That's why I'm worried, Uti. If you're not on your A game here, it's going to be flames. And I think the media companies, in my opinion, at some point are going to find ways to squeeze us. If it's not through algorithms, they're going to create some regulations that you have to jump hoops to have a podcast.
So we have just had an offer of somebody that wants to buy half of the podcast. I won't say the name and I won't share the company.
Sure. It's a company.
Yeah,
Jesus.
It's a company, but it's obviously it's people with long paper. It's people who've built very good successful South African businesses.
Congrats, Boo.
No. I mean, we're not. I'm not saying that we're taking the money.
No. I'm saying congrats for the offer.
Oh, it's great. Oh, yeah,
it's testament. It's testament.
Big up to the team. Big up to the
it's
team.
It's testament to yourself for the vision. It's testament to the crew that has been working way before I got here. It's testament to your ability to bring people like myself and all the amazing guests you've had here. So congrats. Just on that offer. It's someone telling you what you've built something of value. I see it.
Yeah, I get
you may not be happy. We've seen the movie The Social Network, the story of Facebook.
Yeah.
Where early on people wanted to buy, and Mark Zuckerberg was like, not yet. Let's wait. Let's continue creating value. Until someone says, like a Joe Biden, this thing is actually... I think Microsoft initially offered money to Facebook. They said no, because the amount was small. And then later on, when Peter Thiel came, that's when they were like, okay, let's have a conversation. Because now you're talking a serious thing.
I think it was the same case with WhatsApp as well.
I think
when Mark Zuckerberg was acquiring WhatsApp, when Facebook was acquiring WhatsApp.
Maybe I'm confusing the stories. That Microsoft story might be the WhatsApp story, actually.
Crazy,
Yeah.
But humbling. Thank you so
Very
much,
humbling.
sir. Thank you so much to that whole team. Thank you to your partners. Thank you to you guys recognizing the vision that podcasts are the future and wanting to come in early. And thank you for respecting us enough to offer those very good numbers. It wasn't easy to say no.
Jeez.
Yeah, it's
the
good.
The squatters are going to want to know how much. Jeez.
It's very, very good numbers. But what I'm saying
Sure.
is usually when people come, when people want to get into or become a part of something, they're not, some people might not necessarily be buying its current value,
Yeah.
but they're seeing its potential future value.
Yeah.
Because they can see the trajectory when they calculate in numbers.
Yeah.
So, Tina, when you look at our data from behind the scenes, from when we started to now,
Sure.
the podcast, I knew that it would be successful from the beginning.
Yeah.
The first thing that was said on the podcast, guys, go back to the first interview, first video. Our first video was 100,000 views. Our
Jeez.
first, from the beginning, yeah. I knew it would be successful.
Sure.
Even the guest, the person I was interviewing, he said it. He said, this will be the most watched. He said it. He said it was my interview. And he said it with that attitude.
Sure.
Cash flow.
Sure. Oh, Tshabalala Ngcobo. Cash flow.
I said this will be the most watched.
Sure.
And it was the most watched value for 2 years.
Jeez.
For over 100 videos until
Sure.
at least it was toppled this year.
Sure.
But I understand the podcast is growing. So shout outs to Cash Flow Ngcobo. Ushayile podcast is stable and siyabonga.
Sure.
Siyabonga. I think when we celebrate 100,000 subscribers, we need to have him here.
No, you must.
Because, you know, the fact that he said that every time I watch that, that's the first thing when you open the episode number 1.
Sure.
That's the first thing you hear.
Sure.
This will be the most watched. And then from there, that episode, 100,000 views. Bah!
It was bumping for a while, and I remember people were very angry with you. I was one of those
Yeah.
people. Because after that
Why would
interview,
you-
I was like, why are you not making more interviews?
Yeah,
Because
and
people clearly want this.
And I slacked and I left.
Ah, you
I was
slacked.
just doing it at my own time once
Sure.
in a while, you know. But I think it gave me the confidence that I
Yeah.
can do this, you know.
Yeah.
And that was October 2019, before COVID.
Sure.
And it's amazing how far we've come.
There's a story about being the first mover. It's always tricky to know. It's always tricky to know. I'm thinking of what you're saying about Massive, Cliff Central, Touch HD.
Yeah.
You know, you guys came in and look, even to this day, we're still complaining, data must fall.
It must fall.
Whoever's listening out there, we know that the big network companies make money. We know, we understand they create jobs, whatever. But this country will not be uplifted out of the poverty we have until the internet is as close to free as possible for everyone. That's how we'll get foreign dollars to come in. That's how kids will connect with people overseas, etc., etc. First mover status, where you become the first, or MySpace, or Friendster, I think, or High Five. And then Facebook came later and became a game changer. If you think of some of our rappers, or Ammunition, or Zabs, that came, and then Kwafigo AKA, Nabo Casper. It's always tricky to be a first mover because no one wants to take that step. I'm going to burn, I'm going to sacrifice, I'm not going to have money. And then some kid on TikTok is going to be the first multi-million-dollar whatever in this country. But I like the fact that I'm with you because you study a lot of very intelligent, very sharp people, not just locally, but on the continent and globally. And I know you can move. P. Diddy, Gary V, I guess guys like Mark Zuckerberg, these are guys that can spot talent. These are guys that know that life is not a sprint, it's a marathon. Long game and constantly moving. Radio to podcast, if there's a metaverse, if there's NFTs, are we going back to the land? That speaks testament to a human being that's adaptable, that's constantly looking to win. And that's exciting because as much as you are one of the first to start, there's a huge chance that you're probably going to create one of the biggest, if not the biggest, online community. Just because you have the right vision. Just because you are teachable and you're willing to be a student. I'm a groot man like you. I've met them. They don't listen. They're not willing to put kids on. They're like, hey, I've worked hard for my platform. Who the hell is this kid? But you're willing to do that because you've studied the greats and you've seen that if I'm an usher and there's a white kid from Canada and they're like, he's the shit. And they're like, no, his name is Justin Bieber. You're like, I'm willing to listen because I know it's a long game. And you remain relevant, like Snoop Dogg, like Dr. Dre, like all these guys. So I'm excited about what you're going to become because you're already a legend at 43. What happens at 63, at 83? I think you should be scared of what's coming.
I'm excited to see you.
No, Pella, that's the power of it.
I'm excited to see you grow, and I'm excited to see you build other younger guys, you know? Because that's how it has to be.
It has to be like that, and we've lost it.
That's how it has to be.
It has to be. We spoke about, I don't want to speak politics, we spoke about the fact that Julius used to be in the ANC, and he felt like they weren't listening to him as a young person. I think we're doing Tlantla here. And the fact that he looks like he's not seeing a young leader like him, put the kid on. This is how you build your legacy. This is how you will be a god forever. This is why you spoke about human collaboration. This is why Julius needs to come here. This is why other leaders, old, young, need to come here because it has to be about collaboration. Because in the same way, you're Andile Mncitama, like I'm a Bikoist. I stand for Bantu Bigo. The next kid must be like, I stand for Andile Mncitama. The next kid must be like, that's how you build legacy businesses, organizations, countries that can pay homage to the ones that came before. And it's not just me. Elon Musk named his, well, he didn't name it, but he jumped into a company called Tesla, which is paying homage to Nikola Tesla. Nikola Tesla was an inventor back in the day. You had Ubabu Vivian Radio, you had Edison Electrical, Thomas Edison. We need to pay homage. We need to have like a DJ Spoo radio show or DJ Spoo podcast paying homage. That's when you'll know what you know at Intwana actually recognize the work that we've done in the foundations. And that's how we win. So, Jobangish, I'm excited for you. And part of the greatness is trying to build people like myself into whatever potential I have. Because if I win, you win. And everyone that knows you, they know that everyone else is going to win by default.
Yeah, and it's going to be easier to hustle in the future.
Of course.
It's exactly what you were saying earlier. The conversation is data falling. Data has to fall because as many township kids as possible need to be able to access the internet and be able to make money online. To I'm a time away to you know, that type of struggle, bro, from back in the day in the apartheid. Okay, cool, nathi ke sekharezile from ekasi skibela macaps alena le nentwana zethu na nose sakharez but mfana Since lockdown, I've been spending a lot of time on the internet. Guys, internet is the future.
It's a game changer.
It's the most easiest way to make money.
It's a game changer.
When you get buy my favorite internet. Now I'm saying this to all of you guys out there. Guys, what you think however amount of time you spend hustling physically on other things, I think start spending less and less time and start spending more and more time on finding ways to have data and just be online and just find out different ways on how you can make money. There's a lot of ways, Penuel, bro.
It's crazy.
You don't even have to have a big following. You don't even have to have a following at all.
At all.
As long as you're willing to sit and watch videos and learn. If you're lazy to go to different platforms or keep on changing different platforms to learn from, just YouTube. Just this platform.
Just YouTube.
There's a video for everything.
Sure. It's crazy. One of the popular sites is a site called Fiverr, where people can pitch to do graphic work online to people around the world. I personally know people who don't have a following, but who are teaching English online, making 40,000 Rand a month. I myself sell some of my books because I've written 13 books. I sell my books via PDF on there. I do consultations with people via a Zoom or Microsoft Teams or even WhatsApp video, and people pay me for that. Whatever you don't know how to do, you can learn. There are people that are building businesses, watching YouTube videos on how to do this. Then they start offering those services. I can come out and I can do that. I can troubleshoot the problem you have on your computer while I'm chilling in my house and you're in Cape Town and I'm just logging in remotely. The one thing I realized, so we've got an ape and Elon Musk. That's the example I use. We used to be apes. I hope people don't take offense. But in evolution, we were naked. We lived with nature. We didn't need much. You've got an Elon Musk who's building rockets and trying to take us to Mars. There's a progression here. A lot of people are stuck. Abantu basemakhaya, for example, some of them are still fetching amanzi emfuleni basathe ziyinkuni. Some people still haven't learned English. Some people are illiterate, so they don't even know maths. Then you want to add things like coding. You want to add crypto. You want to add NFTs. And then you want to get to Elon Musk and Kanye West levels where you're looking futuristic. People need to understand that from ape to Elon Musk, there's foundations that they need to work on. One of them being language. Just master English, master Mandarin, Spanish, even master your own home language, whether it's Zulu, Spedi, whatever. Master language, master maths. I don't care if you're 35. Go back and just fix and build a strong foundation of algebra, trigonometry, understand numbers, basic. Because the people that code, because coding is a language, I think we've spoken about this before. Coding is a language that people use to communicate with a computer. Because you don't speak to a computer, okay, we do now because of advancements, but you don't speak to a computer and say, hey, switch off. The computer understands ones and zeros, binary. And there's a way that you code to speak to the computer. But for you to become proficient, and because there's people that earn 100,000, 200,000 Rand a month in this country, coding, Python, Java, whatever. And it's because they've mastered language, they've mastered maths, and then you build on top of that. And if you happen to be creative, and if you can solve problems, that means the communication you're having with a computer, it can create analytics that can then suck whatever video you're making, the data from that, and it can give it to you in real time. You can get paid in dollars without having to worry about a lot of things. So people need to get these things right. Get your language right, get your maths, learn how to code. Like I've said before, I may not be an ambassador for crypto, but I'm learning these things because in the future, if they switch off imali, I don't want to be left behind and be an ape. Where Osbuda are speaking about, no, I'm on Binance, I'm on Coinbase, we're looking at Ethereum, and I'm like, hey, which is some of our grandparents must call me English. Oh, hey, muze, phela mayikhuluma English. And you're like, Koko, no, asambe sonke. And I've spoken about black tax, that black tax for me is not just money. We need to be sending home knowledge and skills. Go back to Elokshini, go back to Emakhaya, with your little bit of money, makhoni Wi-Fi, faki Wi-Fi endlini, ukufundisa ugogo ukuthi YouTube usesha kanjani. Umtshela buko ogogo eJapan ukuthi bayenza yoga, bayajima. Abona ogogo eChina ukuthi baneyingadi bayatshatha. Hawu, nase China ogogo basenze yebo gogo. Let's plug into the world and then teach them these things. Gogo, let's go back language. Le gama lithi xenophobia gogo lisho ukuthi iphobia is this. Ugogo wakho mayikhuluma naye kuzoba sathi ungqondo ngqondo. Phela mina ngiyazi iphobia means fear mfanami. You're like gogo ubani ukufundisa. And you're like, my kids, my grandkids, they have a black tax of knowledge and information. And labe shota corner, they play virtual Mkhukhu. But hey gogo mina ngikwazi ukuningi but ngicela ubuku DJ Sibu ngicela ubuku God Pen. Naba abantu abazokufundisa gogo these things ngoba asifuni usale gogo. Ngoba thina masasigibela amabhanoyi nani wena usasaba hayi lento mayiwa gogo an aeroplane has got a lower chance of crashing than a car. You need to know those things. Get in an aeroplane gogo, learn how to use a computer. I had to teach my mother during the lockdown because she's a school teacher. She works at a private school here in Johannesburg. She's a Zulu teacher. I had to teach her how to do videos online for her students. She had to learn how to send emails and attachments. It was frustrating for her. And luckily, I have the wisdom and the maturity to understand that in that moment, akasasu mama, uyingane yami. She's my child that I'm teaching how to use a computer, so I need to have the patience. Hayi manje attach mfana ngenze njani? No, relax, khuleka mama. Understand yini email? It's electronic mail. Kuseposini la. Uthumela abantu and get people to just understand fundamentally how the world is moving. So singeke sale. Because the other important thing for us that are trying to chase the future and we want to go to Mars and whatever is we mustn't leave our people behind. And while we're chasing, make sure that you're planting at home because wafundisa ugogo mhlawumbe uneyingane eziwu-10. Lezo ingane each have maybe 3 kids. That's 30 grandkids. That's part of the reasons for black Africans that we're not winning. Uclever wedwa endlini. Udokotela wedwa. U-engineer wedwa. Instead of going back home and be like, guys, toolbox every home must have a toolbox. Basic things. This is called a monkey wrench. This is called a span. Number. They speak to the size of. Tools are important. Is it a shovel? Is it a spade? Do you know what to do with this? Do you know how to use lento kala level? Why? Let's teach so that we can build. So that my phone. Okay, go to YouTube, check to what you're saying about the internet being a game changer. It has decentralized education. There is nothing in any university in this country or in the world that you will not find on the internet free. On a Wikipedia, on a Google, on a what. Elon Musk has spoken about it. Gary Vee has spoken about it. I think Mark Zuckerberg has spoken about it. The companies like Google and Amazon have moved past what degree do you have. They want to know your proficiency. What problems can you solve? And a lot of these kids are going to tell you, I can solve these problems just because I watch videos and I learned how to code. There's videos that will teach you Mandarin, Spanish, French, how to code, how to fix a leaking tap, how to service your own car on YouTube. There's the Khan Academy, which teaches you maths and science. It's out there and it's in the power of our hand. When our Walubugiz in my jive on TikTok, Penuel Nosbu are empowering themselves and turning themselves into robots. The days Patwama robots, Tina will be able to speak to them because they'll be able to recognize this guy's got a crazy knowledge base. We'll be linked to Neuralink, Elon Musk, where he's trying to get our brains to connect with the internet. So that Maukuba Zegile, there's a movie called Upgrade. Maukuba Zegile, the machine can speak to your body and speak to your brain. Maybe fix your speech if you stutter or whatever. We'll be able to do that. We'll be able to merge and work with machines. And Abanbaz will be selling a move and they will literally become apes. You'll be an ape.
I know, Marmela.
You're not ready. Can I tell you some scary things? Because I used to be against the concept of getting microchips.
But that's what they're saying. Me too. I've always been, even Naman.
Yeah.
I am. But they're saying these will be obsolete by now in 2030.
Sure.
That's what they already said. Did you listen to the World Economic Forum just last week? 2 weeks ago.
Oh, Klaus and the boys.
But see, these are about Klaus.
So I want to tell you something scary. My brother and I have had these conversations because I used to be very much against, some people call it the mark of the beast, 666.
Yeah.
A microchip.
Jeez, it's crazy on how a lot of conspiracy theories have become so true.
Yeah.
Over the years, but anyway, yeah.
A microchip is going to be put into your body. It's going to check everything, like analytics. It's going to check your temperature. It's going to check who to short down with proteins, whatever. That's microchips and we're scared of them, right? Thank you so much, Buddha.
Sure.
The microchip is going to be sold as something that will improve you. It'll tell you that you're getting sick. Stop drinking. You're getting drunk. It's going to tell you this is where your lungs are at, so don't smoke right now. It's going to check your vitals. It's going to communicate with you in real time. And you're going to say no. People get contact lenses now to improve their vision. People get hearing aids to improve their hearing. People get fillings and false teeth to improve so that they can eat. We already have implants in ourselves. They primitive compared to a chip, but we already have implants. And one of the things that I've heard before is you're running away from a chip, but you're already carrying a chip every day. That's listening to all your conversations. That's already got your data. The difference between you holding a phone and a chip being inside you is literally just going to be that. And you'll be like, please tell me how far is Tembisa from here? And it'll speak to you and say you whatever. And you're like, okay, please. And maybe you'll be able to communicate with your car. Please tell the car to take me to wherever. And you're going to say no for the longest time. And you're going to see other people doing it like Uber. Uber is the concept of you putting your child in a car with a stranger. But we're doing it. We're going to sign up to microchips the day they come because they're going to sell us such an amazing proposition. Lento ishoyo ukuthi go on YouTube, learn. The microchip is going to say don't go on YouTube. The day you need that information will guide you step for step in your head. What do you want to know? I want to know how to say hello in Mandarin. Oh, it's ni hao. And it'll tell you in your head. You'll be like, oh, ni hao. And you're like, how do you know that? You're like, no, I just spoke to my chip. And they're introducing this obviously via propaganda. If you watch one of the latest Spider-Man movies, the Marvel, Tony Stark, Iron Man, who's like a tech guru, and apparently was modeled after Elon Musk in real life. He's the real life Iron Man apparently. He builds this suit for Spider-Man that communicates to him because Iron Man has got a suit with Jarvis, which is the chip. It's the Siri, it's the whatever voice recognition that you use. And his suit speaks to him about everything. My Godola, the suit warms him up. If he's not sure what's happening, if he wants to hear something far away, if he hasn't touched his phone, it's like, listen, your mom's trying to get you. Don't worry, I'll solve it. There's something missing in your fridge. You don't have milk. Don't worry, I've ordered it for you. It's fine. Stop spending money. It's not within your budget. And you will take that chip. I'm telling you now.
They call it predictive programming.
Yes.
And they've been doing it for many decades, for many years. What we think is Hollywood and we think it's entertainment and we just keep watching movies. We keep watching our superstars, our Hollywood legends. We keep watching the Oscars, the Grammys. Predictive programming. And just how great at marketing themselves Americans are.
Yeah.
Marketing themselves to the whole world using Hollywood.
Of course.
And that's why a lot of people would say even Hollywood itself is captured.
By the CIA.
And they would say the CIA is actually a division. is a division of the cabal that is run by the cabal that actually runs Hollywood.
Yeah.
And a lot of the movies that you would watch that have to do with CIA agents traveling the world and doing certain things to certain countries, it's because actually a lot of it or most of it is true.
Yeah. I can believe that very much. Joseph Goebbels, I think, was Hitler's PR man. I think it was Hitler or Stalin, one of the two. And he realized the power of platform, media, etc. And he created an amazing strategy for him. And you best believe in the CIA, you best believe some of the best global leaders politically, religiously, business. They study all these things. Or they get consultants in psychology that come through and they're like, you realize everyone in the world is watching Hollywood. Everyone's watching our movies. I think it's time to use this thing because we can make America look great. We can make Russians look like criminals. We can make Nigerians look like scam artists. We can do that. We can work on human perception. When we say CIA and FBI, people will be petrified. Guys, I'm working with the CIA, and it's just a normal person like me and you, but we've worked on the mind so much, so why not use it? And I think for us, we've got a platform now called the Virtual Mkhukhu, and we must be smart enough to mimic Joseph Goebbels, to mimic the CIA, to mimic Hollywood, and be like, since we have people's attention here, how do we use this platform to unlock minds? Not to, well, I want to colonize minds, not to colonize and exploit them, but to unlock them so that whatever conversation we're having now, there are kids that are going to be watching this. And they're literally going to be like, this guy changed my life. But being phoning every day and usbuda no pen have changed my life. I make 10 grand a month on this phone because I'm teaching, because I'm learning, because I'm doing whatever. Because we've got the platform and we are infiltrating minds so that people are not watching junk and whatever the case may be. So you best believe those minds there, they realize the power of their platform. Unfortunately, they use it for a lot of bad.
That's the sad thing. It depends on ukuthi leyo power isemuntwini right noma isemuntwini obusathane na. Somebody was saying to me yesterday, Jesus, Buddha, I didn't know that you've got a podcast. I just started watching even your old episodes.
Yeah.
and then they say to me, wow, you've been having that Mofire can since you started. So I was just thinking about Hollywood and just how product placement and how a lot of the African American entrepreneurs have built their brands and businesses through the hip hop culture and music videos. The likes of Abo Fubu, the likes of Abo Rockaware from back in the days, Abo Sean John,
Fat Farm,
Abo C Rock even now. Diddy has been doing it for years.
Been doing it.
You know, but actually Russell Simmons did it even before that, you know. Excuse me. Which is what I've done with Mofire.
Yeah, subliminal messaging.
Yeah.
Without even thinking about it, you see Mofire, you create an online platform and at least make money from selling products that are already there. Then you can always later on get involved in something else. I think that's quite exciting. And I wanted to mention, sorry.
Yeah, go ahead, sorry.
I've been going around meeting some of my fans and my followers, and I'm quite appreciative of that because I'm obviously trying to build my cult, Penuelism.
Sure.
I've been very blessed. I've been meeting such amazing people, such amazing business people, entrepreneurs, employees, highly intelligent people. One of the people that I met is a gentleman who invested from his salary 300,000 Rand a couple of years ago into crypto. I just wanted to finish off on that crypto. 300,000 Rand. I'm not going to mention his name, of course. Last year, April, he cashed out from that 300,000 Rand, 4.5 million.
Wow.
He was saying, I know how you feel about crypto, Pen, but I just want to tell you my story of I've become a millionaire off crypto. I just wanted to add on the crypto, sorry, before you carry on with affiliate marketing and making money online.
You see, I don't think you're exploiting your books enough. You could be making tons and tons of money with the amount of mind you have, and I'm glad that you're next to me now. I'm going to help you monetize that mind of yours. Because when you've got that mind, at least in a factory like hand.
Sure.
You don't have to have a physical factory,
sure.
fire, when a staff. You already have a factory here.
Sure.
So if you guys are the same way you can have a skill of being a gardener or of being someone who can teach people a martial arts or a brick fall, if you've got a brain, you don't need to know any other physical skill.
Sure.
If you've got a brain, you can do what he does. Just consult with people and give them advice on what you're good at. Even just on speaking.
Just on speaking.
Even just on speaking. There's people who make tons of money just speaking.
Yeah.
Making people feel great about themselves.
Sure.
There's people who are orators.
Sure.
Who are just good in captivating an audience. And just making you feel
Sure.
You know, there's a lot of Les Browns here locally.
No, facts.
Les Brown does that really well, bro.
Sure.
So I don't want people to think it's difficult to go in Zimali. I mean, I'm trying to think of as many examples as possible. Just to try and unlock inqondo zabantu ukuthi guys ku easy and kumele uzijwayeze ukusho kanjalo ngomlomo wakho ku easy kwenza inyuki.
Sure.
Inyuki ibhaya, inyuki igcwele. Yekela lento yokulobela uthi ngomlomo inyuki ayikho, inyuki ibhaya. Inyuki ibhaya.
And it's so important to understand physically you can only go so far. Your home, your you can only go so far. Ukibela ama-taxi. Online, you access 7.8 billion human beings on the planet.
That's true.
You're not limited by you can sell stuff to intwane se-China, intwane se-Argentina. Just from here, uhleli endlini ulele kanje ngaphansi kwey'ngubo uthi qeda ona kungena 100 rand. No, danke. Ngiyabonga mina. You don't have to get up and go anywhere. Yeah. I make money on my phone chilling in bed. And I need South African kids to understand this because there are kids out there in the world that are doing that. And there's no reason why we can't be doing that in South Africa and on the African continent. That's another reason why data must fall. Our government is sleeping on it. Some of the big businesses are sleeping on it. We can help their businesses scale if they give us access to the world via the internet and stop milking us with expensive data. Give us access, we'll make money. Not locally, abroad. We'll bring foreign currency here. We'll bring tourists here. People want to travel everywhere to come and meet DJ Sbu. Because we've got virtual squatters that are not here. I've had virtual squatters. I've had my own fans who have invited me to other places in the world. Pen, when are you coming to New Zealand? To Australia? There's a lady who's saying, please come to New York, but come next year when the weather's a bit better. We're going to bring tourists here. If you give us access to the world via the internet, it's here now. Maybe even give us phones. And I guess a challenge to all the influential, important people out there, including the people that pitched to you, is guys, if you use this platform the way you should be using it, we should be getting free equipment, we should be getting free studios, we should be getting government pumping whatever they need to pump into us because we are teaching, which means school teachers are going to take this content and play it for their kids. We're bringing influential people that are telling their stories that people would not hear anywhere else. We are empowering South Africans fundamentally in real time, where government is going to be earning tax from the advice we're giving them today, where people are going to be getting jobs from advice we're giving today, where Okoko, no Mkhulu are going to be getting empowered by their kids because of content we gave today. They need to wake up and be like, these guys are actually the real leaders of the world, and they don't need a political party. They're not asking for a church. They're just saying, let's invest in them, and they will ignite because they passionately care about this country and they want us to win.
The last part of the interview, I want us to talk about some of the episodes that we've been through, seeing that we are very quickly approaching 100,000 subscribers, which is quite an achievement for us. Honestly, I never really thought that we'd get here this quick, which is still nothing. It's only still the beginning.
Sure.
But it just, it just shows there's potential.
Yeah.
You know, this is a road to 1 million subscribers, and then that's a road to 10 million subscribers. Because we have to grow this.
Sure.
And by the way, guys, if you want to grow your channels on these platforms, consistency. You have to be consistent. Abantu at some point they give up.
Of course.
Yeah. So I just want us to look back at some of the episodes, and I do know that we've had a chat off air.
Sure.
And there are some things that were said here that you agree or either disagree with. Sure. And then let's look at maybe 5 of our most memorable episodes that you think there's certain topics or things that stand out that might have been said by some of our previous guests that you either agree or disagree with.
Sure. Yeah. Yazi, if we start this conversation, I'm going to try and keep it as short as possible, because if we start this conversation, I can probably go for 2 hours.
Yeah, because it would be like an entire episode. I think we need to do that when we celebrate those 100,000 subscribers.
Yeah.
There needs to be a series of episodes of celebrating 100,000 subscribers.
So. Yeah. A couple of episodes stand out, one of them being the challenger, Andile Mngcitama, because he wanted to debate me on Rob Hersoff and that I've been captured. And I wanted to explain to him why I'm not captured. And I wanted to explain to him the concept of being captured and the fact that all of us are captured by somebody. He's captured by Steve Biko, for example. And how to make sure that whoever captures you is aligned to your vision and your values so that you don't sell out, for example. I wanted to explain to him why I think the way they're going around the land issue with Black First, Land First, BLF, why it's wrong, and how he should be focusing on building BLF into a Black AfriForum that is fundraising to, number 1, buy as much land as possible under BLF. Number 2, fight and create their own legal team like AfriForum to fight for land claims and be the face. If someone's like, BLF must be the go-to people. They must be the face of making sure that government provides leases, because government provides 99-year leases, 20-year leases to Black people that are looking to develop, not just farming, but property, whatever. They should be the face of that and explain to people how you can get a cheap lease from the state. And then obviously sitting in dialogue with some of these white people that own land and saying, let's collaborate. You guys stole our land, took our land, it's fine. We're trying to work with you. What's the easiest, smartest way to get these people, not to fight them, to get them to willingly say, Andile is my friend, he must bring his friends on my farm. They can use the farm, because that part we don't use at all. Already now you've got land, you've won. Your people are like, Siyabonga Andile, you know, and not constantly fight. It's cool for political mileage, but fundamentally, what are you trying to do? You're trying to get Black people to get land and to work the land effectively. Later on, you can have a midterm, long-term plan of how Black people can end up not having leases but owning the land. Black people can actually get the white people to freely give them the land and say, what you're doing, DJ Sbu, with this land is more than I could ever do as Van der Merwe. Please hire me and my kids because you're a bigger brain than me, as an example. Andile sticks out. Unhlanhla Lux, I'll just mention, because I'm a huge fan of Unhlanhla as a young leader, a brave leader. I hope he will inspire, because this is what I keep trying to say to people online, that the whole concept of Nhlanhla Lux and Julius Malema and Amandisa Mashiko and Nompendulo Mkhatshwa, Alindiwe Mazibuko, Phumzile van Dam, it's not for you to worship cult figures. It's for you to realize that normal kids can stand up, put their hand up and say, I will lead. If I feel there's something wrong and I've made enough noise and it's not happening, I can only shout so much. Let me use my cell phone, let me get on a platform, let me start teaching the stuff that I think other people are not getting. So for me, he's a great leader. I'm not fully happy with the work they are doing at Operation Tutula. Unhlanhla is incredibly intelligent. I think it's one of the things people actually don't know about him. He reads a lot. He consumes a lot of online content. He's a great mastermind, and he understands psychology and he understands human beings. I think he could be better used fighting a strategic battle, again, like Andile, to make sure that, for example, have sit-downs with Somalians, Ethiopians, Pakistanis, and speak to them about how can you guys hire our people? How can you guys share skills that you have? Because maybe we're not natural traders. How can you get us to be part of your stockfields? It can't just be a Somalians only. We also want to get in. We want to work with you. We want to win with you. Are you undocumented? Okay, we'd like you to go back home because this is wrong. But if you refuse to go back home, how can we make sure that while you're here, we authorize you being here, and we make sure that you pay tax and that you're helping our people, and that in the communities you're in, you're giving back, and you're not just here to milk from us. And having more strategic, intelligent conversations and not just fighting. Human collaboration, we've always been migrating as a people. Even as what we call Black South Africans, we came from somewhere else. Mina ngiphuma kwaZulu, njoba sengila eGauteng. Mangizwa umlando wakamLothswa, siphuma Lesotho. Mangizwa abantu bantu, the people of Ntu, they come from the north. Kwakukhona the Khoi and so we've been moving. Abelungu came and created these borders. And the borders are here, and mele siwahloniphe. Usibu has built a home, siyambonga, une-fence. Mele ngihloniphe ngizocela, but usibu ngicela ukungena la. Mangena ngenkani, and maybe I'm adding value. Jump fence and sengiyasebenza ngani sengitshalela utamati. I should be kicked out. It's wrong what I'm doing. But if you have the intelligence and the strategy to be like, this guy is planting tomatoes here, which is something maybe I wasn't doing or I struggle with. Let me have a conversation with him. Let's talk. Let's create dialogue. Let the Operation Tutula have online platforms where they're saying, we invite all the leaders of all these foreigners, including undocumented. Let's have a conversation, and we also want them to tell us what's wrong with our home affairs. In the same way that some of the biggest hackers online become consultants for companies on how to not get hacked. You came in and you hacked me, you're in my system illegally. Sorry, I know your Twitter's been hacked. This is a soft spot for you.
It's okay.
But how did you hack me? So that I can make sure that there's two-factor authentication. So that you can tell me next time, don't just click on the, teach me, master. How did you ensure that China becomes great? How did the Indians, etc.? So I think Operation Tutula, this is not Bigo time, Chris Hani time, this is not Kwame Nkrumah. The world has moved. Why are we not moving smarter? I'd like to have conversations with spaza shop owners and actually ask them how they operate. What are their fears? What are their, how can we do things better? Where are South Africans falling short? So that it's a teachable moment for all of us.
Mandisa Mashego.
I think for Sis Mandis, and her show, her episode at some point I think was the most watched. I don't know if it still is. It destroyed the Nhlanhla Lux. I know she was competing with Dr. JJ Taban at some point because she knows him personally.
Oh,
she was like, oh my goodness.
But, that was
Jesus.
not on virtual Mkhukhu though, but I mean it's
currently on the same platform, just different names.
Yeah,
it's like an SAPC but different episodes on the same, so it's fine. Jesus, Mpho Wabadimo. With Umandisa, the one thing I wanted to challenge her on is this issue that we have of black women wanting to fight almost alone. Because it's one of the things that the system has gotten right. As much as she says she's not necessarily a feminist and she's a womanist, and a womanist is for black women in particular, and white women won't really understand what they're doing. I'm like, you guys are leaving us behind. And that's where you kind of want to lose it. Because black women in particular are meant to front for black men. So if there's opportunities for black women, the black woman must go, but they must not go on their own. They must go on behalf of black men as well. If there's funding, she must be like, my husband, my son, I'll go and represent us. I'll come back with the money so we can build together. In the same way, if black men are getting opportunities instead of black women, we must go front and go and fetch those resources and say, black women, I've fetched the money. Let's all win to it. It shouldn't be, they've won with creating these silos. I also had an issue with the fact that she wants to fight her, I think it might be her maternal grandfather's family, because she's got a white maternal grandfather. She wants to sue them. She wants to get their land, what. Again, my thing is, why are you first not sitting down with them and building relations and finding your family history? And then from there, be like, I'd like to work with you. I'm a Mandisa Mashiko, I'm well known, I can get access. What can we do as a family? And how can we use this land? Because this is also meant to be a part of my legacy. But I'm not coming with hostility. You only come with hostility if you've sat down and if you've tried and then people have said no, then you're like, no. Because she wants to sue them, and some of these people are going to be like, sue us for what? You haven't even spoken to us. So that stood out for me with her. Mkhulu Ntsingiza was another one I wanted to debate at the time. He's been a huge mind shift for myself and for our virtual squatters. You get called out all the time now that 23 September has to be African New Year. DJ Spoo, make sure we celebrate African New Year on the 23rd of September. And he came here and he pushed that. I wanted to speak about the concept of, as I said, we've got the ape, we've got Elon Musk. Beyond Elon Musk, we've got the robots. And I wanted to just have this conversation of what we call African culture and customs. And at which point do we progress to some of the Western teachings, because some of the white people that colonized us had traveled more than us? When do we borrow from what our ancestors had? When do we have the conversation of discarding what no longer appeals to us? Because African culture wasn't born from the sky. It was built on principles created by men like you and I. How do we hold on to some of those principles and then build in a modern way, in a way that allows us to win? And how do we scrap, and where do we go to scrap some of these things that no longer serve us and in turn destroy our families and impoverish, in particular, black men? Ilobolo intlawulo. Let's not speak materially about cows and money. Let's speak about the principle. How do we maintain the principle and move forward? And then how do we borrow from the rest of the world and say, look, these are our African things and we can borrow from them. These are the Chinese things they brought, we can borrow from them. These are the Western things we can borrow from them. Because a lot of black people now, when they speak decolonization, going back to how our ancestors, it looks like people want to stop driving in cars and using cell phones. And that was not the essence of who we were as a people. We were willing to learn. It's just we were forced to move and we were exploited. White people messed up and apartheid had to end because they weren't collaborating. They were exploiting us. If they had sat with us and said, guys, there's wealth here, and if you guys are willing to work, we can all live well together, we would have had a beautiful story of how the British came here and how the Dutch came here, and we built an amazing country, and we built at Dubai, we built in New York. But they came and they bullied us because a lot of the things they brought, there was a lot of good education. They could have taught us about guns when we were still using nopkiris, and we would have helped them build some of these great things. So I just wanted to have that type of conversation with him, that we mustn't demonize everything Western. We need to collaborate with the good aspects of Western while borrowing from what our ancestors had.
And then the JJ Tabane episode. And I think sometimes even when we went through what we had to go through during that episode, by the way, he's got an amazing story.
Amazing story.
Very
funny. I couldn't stop laughing.
Inspirational gentleman.
Sure.
Thank you, Dr. JJ. Thank you. The positive side of the other coin is our podcast was spoken about on a lot of platforms, and I think during that period, our podcast that month alone did not just grow in 10,000 doubled.
Sure.
Because our average growth over the past couple of months has been 10,000 subscribers a month. That particular month, it was 20,000 subscribers.
Jeez.
So I always try and look at things from the positive side of it. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And your take on that episode?
I really enjoyed the episode a lot. I learned. I enjoy learning. I think you and I are both students of life. Learning about different political parties, learning about different personalities, listening to a highly principled man speaking about his life and how he thinks the country could be better. And of course, the biggest learnings came afterwards with the lawsuit, with realizing the power of platform, the dangers of the things we say, the ability of some of our squatters sadly not being able to separate that we are human, we've got families and responsibilities, that this is a platform, that when certain things happen, we have to be strategic. Because this was my thing with Andile and Ntlantla, that we need to be strategic in our fights. It's nice that our virtual squatters want us to fight something, but realistically, these have been some of the reasons why certain black leaders and heroes in the past ended up being killed or cancelled or whatever. It's because they didn't fight strategically. And we're trying to show them, and hopefully they'll appreciate it later, that some of the things, you may call it selling out, securing the bag, whatever, but we still have this platform and we'll teach you so much game that you'd be like, that small little bump, it was fine. it was fine, and we'll carry on from it. So for me, that was some of the learnings from there,
And then-
from the JJ one.
There was an interesting one with Nota.
Jeez, Nota needs to come back.
Nota needs to come back.
Nota and I still need to mind wrestle quite a lot. I've learnt a lot from you. I've learnt a lot from him. I think he needs to spend more time with both of us. He respects highly as a Grootman. I've seen he fights for you as well, even on social media. From me, I still have some of the energy to take him on. So I think he still needs to learn a lot from us because he's a great voice, he's a great mind, and a lot of his followers are hoping that he'll sharpen some of his stuff so that he can do even more. I think for me, it's very general, but I want him to spend more time with us. I want us to have more debates so that all three of us can become better leaders to whoever our followers are.
Yeah,
You know.
and he sounds like he's willing to learn. Because
No,
I heard
definitely.
I heard him saying, I don't want to fight with people anymore. I want to start being presidential.
Yeah.
And then when somebody starts speaking that language,
Sure.
it means mentally they can see and they're growing. Mentally they're growing, but they want to start changing certain habits.
100%.
Because you don't just grow
Nah.
in 1 month.
It's a process,
you know?
it's a process.
It's a process.
And he's going through therapy as well. So he is trying to build himself into something, which is quite amazing.
Do you know who's been able to build themselves amazingly? Guys, go look for a rapper, or let me say a former rapper by the name of Shine. Shine was that rapper who was with P. Diddy when P. Diddy was still dating J-Lo.
Sure.
Jennifer Lopez.
Sure.
I think J-Lo, Jennifer Lopez, P. Diddy, Shine, and I think their entourage and bodyguards were at a club
Sure.
having a great time.
Sure.
And then an incident happened in the club. There were shots fired.
Sure.
And Diddy's entourage and J-Lo with Shine, I think, fled the scene, jumped into an Escalade or Suburban, drove off, and apparently they got caught by cops. And when cops searched the car, there was a firearm there.
Sure.
And to cut the long story short, Shine ended up spending jail time.
Okay.
What the hip hop community would say, he spent time for Biggie. Oh, sorry, for Diddy.
For Diddy.
You know, that's his story. That's his claim to fame.
Yeah.
He was a famous rapper,
Yeah.
amazing, very very thick voice, like the B.I.G. amazing flow type of rapper.
Sure.
But go look at how he's been able to evolve his life.
Yeah.
And the things that he's doing today
You spell his name with an I or a Y?
with a Y.
With a Y. Shine with a Y.
Shine with the Y, yeah.
Sure.
Syne. He's just evolved his life to an amazing position.
Sure.
And just how he speaks, the things that he's doing. And it just shows that anybody can change. Anybody
Yeah.
can evolve.
Yeah.
So when Nota speaks about being presidential and becoming better and handling himself better even in these online streets, I am for that.
Yeah.
And not only Nota, I think a lot of people out there,
Yeah.
a lot of us.
A lot of us,
We're all
myself
just-
included.
You know what I mean? We're going through this journey.
We are
too.
work in progress. The last person I want to speak about, I wasn't on the episode. I watched it and I enjoyed it very much. With Uputi Uvelimpele. He spoke about black unity, and this is not about him even. It's about everyone. I have an issue with the concept of black unity because I think it's going to distract us. One of the things you guys spoke about was this idea of celebrating an isolated black success story. Siya Kolisi, maybe a Vusi Tembekwayo, maybe a Patrice Motsepe, and it pacifies the black masses. Oh, look at this guy, he succeeded. Whereas other groups succeed as a collective. In South Africa, we don't speak about the wealthiest Muslim or the wealthiest Jew. We speak about the community, that the entire Jewish community is doing well, the entire Muslim community is doing well. When we say Pakistanis, we speak about a group of people. With blacks, they pointed isolated, so it pacifies people. On the other end, I have an issue with that, and then I have an issue with, and I agree with you guys on that, I have an issue with this idea of waiting for black unity. When the ANC and the EFF and the PAC and the IFP all come to, no. I fully think that's another problem because now we're waiting. It's like waiting for Jesus to come back. Black people need to understand that the only time you unite against race is when you're being attacked on race. So the apartheid government attacked black people on race. That's why it was easy to unify and fight. Today we've got unique fights. We've got economic fights. We've got ideological fights. You need to find your people because we're not the same. The ANC has factions. We've seen in the DA that certain black people have left. We've seen fights in even the IFP. Like, we don't have the same ideologies and mandates. And I've always said this is my challenge to black people in particular. Write down a list of your values. What do you value? From an education perspective, how do you want to raise your kids? Where do you want to live? What skills do you want to acquire? And then go find people that are like-minded to build with. Because you might find your political leaders that are black, your business leaders who are black, don't have the same ideologies as you. They're actually looking to exploit you. They're looking to destroy you. Oh, and when are you so contained on this, he's black. I don't like the idea of black unity. I like the idea of unifying behind an ideology and value system. Because the example that was used, Otu Velimpele, was the AfriForum. The AfriForum is not united on whiteness. It's not united on race. It's united on Afrikaner people, who of course the majority are white, of course. But AfriForum doesn't fight for white Jews. AfriForum doesn't fight for white English people. It fights for Afrikaans people and Afrikaans culture. If Zulu people fought for Zulu and they built something beautiful for the nation of Zulu and the kingdom and they said we are aligned, that's great. At least that's something where you are. But you're trying to unite a black Zulu, Mxhosa, Lona, he believes in LGBTQI, Lona is American, Lona is like, no, I want to be rich and live in Sandton. Lona's like, no, let's build Ikasi. Lona it's never going to work. We've got different visions and values, and people need to identify their visions and values and go and find their people. That's what Penuelism is all about, finding your own tribe. And you'll find that your own tribe, you'll be surprised, but there's a chance that it's not black people like you. Or some of those people, like what happened in the ANC, happen to not be black. And some of your biggest supporters become a Chinese person, an Indian person, a white, a colored person. And when you thought, no, it must be darky, the same darky you're working with is the one that's actually destroying you. Because you're so clouded by this whole, we need to unite as black. And I've said before, when you vote with your rand, if you're black conscious, if you're Pan-Africanist, when you're buying from a black business, find out from that black business owner, are they making a conscious effort to buy from black suppliers? Are they making a conscious effort to employ black? Are they making a conscious effort to uplift a black community? Or are they just black but they live in white suburbs? Their kids go to white schools. Their friends are white people they play golf with. Their suppliers are white people. That means you're not buying from a black business. You're buying from a white institution that just happens to have a black face. And you've sold out to black consciousness and Pan-Africanism just by that alone.
I think with that being said, we'll see you guys on the next video. We love you very much. Thank you. This is The Hustler's Corner.